What does distinguish the Republican Party of today from the Republican Party under President Bush's rule with regard to spending, which is where it got out of control under Republican rule, that now conservatives are so upset about?
Well, let's look at a few facts. Thank you for the opportunity, because I wanted to respond to what Chris said. You know, in the last year that President Bush was in office, 2008, the deficit was 3.2% of the gross domestic product. Today it's 10%. We just hit the $13 trillion cap on national debt.
Well, let me just stop you, Senator. Wait a minute. Where did some of that debt come from? The President of the United States was George Bush when they passed a huge TARP, which was to bail out the banks. I mean, that's what ran up a lot of debt as well. You're saying that a Republican?
Well, you're ignoring the stimulus that was failed according to the President's own standards. He said he was supposed to keep unemployment to 8%. A $2.6 trillion health care bill, which I agree with Pete, will bankrupt not only the private sector, but the states and the federal government, creating a new entitlement program. My point is that, you know, unemployment was roughly 6.9% when President Obama was elected. Now it's 9.5%. The deficit was 3.2% the last year President Bush was in office. Now it's 10%. The debt was $2.3 trillion lower when in 2008 than it is now because of runaway spending and debt.
So
those are some of the
my
policies
question is
people
still,
reacting
what is the
to.
distinction of the Republican Party of today versus the Bush record that you're defending?
Well, I think what people are looking for, David, are checks and balances. They've had single-party government, and it's scaring the living daylights out of them. It's keeping job creators on the sidelines rather than investing and creating jobs. That's why the private sector isn't creating jobs. But can't you understand people will see that as a strategy of saying no rather than saying yes to something? Well, my constituents in Texas, I have to tell you, to all the bad ideas that they hear coming out of Washington these days, no is a good start. And then they want us to replace it with common sense policies that actually make sense. But the problem is, our friends on the Democratic side, including the President, have passed one unpopular policy measure after another and told the American people, we don't care what you think. We know what's better than you do, what's good for you, and I think the birds are coming home to roost.
David, if the check